Hi, welcome back. For today's video, I'm going to be showing you my top 5 makeup tips or makeup hacks that I love, and they honestly change the way that my makeup looks and just elevates everything to the next level. So let's get into it. Okay, to start out, I'm going to put my hair back in a clip really quick just to get it like out of my face to make this easier. Starting off with base makeup, this one here is kind of like a dry skin girly makeup hack. If you don't have dry skin, you probably don't need to do this. If you have oily skin, you're definitely not going to want to do this. But I have super dry skin, so this is a hack that has worked so good for me, and I love doing it. So what I do is I take my base makeup. You can use whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You can use like a skin tint or a foundation, whatever it is. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion, and I just take that on the back of my hand, enough to cover my face, and then I'm going to take a little bit of face oil. It can be any like oil or skincare like type oil that you have. This one is from TJ Maxx, I think, or Marshall's. And I just take the smallest amount. I'm gonna put like 1 drop in with the foundation, and I just mix that all together, and I put that all over my face. And then I'm gonna take this Refi Beauty brush right here and blend that out. And what this does is it just helps leave my skin feeling hydrated for longer. Obviously, this is already a really glowy product, so I'm not using the oil for the glow. I'm using the oil to keep my skin hydrated for longer. If I use more of like a matte type of product, like this Fenty Beauty Skin Tint, this isn't really matte, but it's just like a different, it's not as glowy as this. I would use more oil, but this is already a really glowy product, so I just use a tiny bit, and then it keeps my skin feeling hydrated. So it's kind of like a combination of skincare mixed with makeup, and I've just found that it works so good on my skin. There might be some like foundations or base makeup products, skin tints, tinted moisturizers, things like that, where the oil doesn't mix well with them, so you do kind of have to test it out and see which products work, which don't. So it might not work with every single foundation that you have, but you can try it out, and the ones that it works with, then you can use it, this hack, when you apply those products. Alright, tip number 2 has to do with your cream bronzer or contour, and placing that in certain spots to make your face look as lifted as possible. So I already put it on my face where I normally would, but this part I really want to focus on the nose and the eyes. So what I do is I take a small brush like this, and I start just contouring my nose, but I always bring it up into the inner part of my eye to blend that all together. So we don't want any harsh lines, and we want all of this to look as snatched as possible. So I just start working that on and blending it right here on this part of my eye. And then I do the same thing on both sides. And then what I also do, you can use the small end or the big end, whatever you want. I take the brush and I start focusing the bronzer on the outer corner of my eye and blend it into this area where I already put the bronzer. So I take that and I just start blending it out and working it upwards towards my temple. I sometimes like to do it with the bigger side just because I feel like, I don't know, you can just get it more blended and like fanned out, but I really like to focus it in this area towards like the end of your eyebrow almost, and then I just take it and just blend it in like this, and it really just helps your face look super lifted. So using your cream bronzer or contour as a way to contour your eye area and your nose area is a huge thing. And you don't need to even apply eyeshadow over this because this just makes such a big difference in your makeup look. And it's really quick and easy because you're already using a product that you used all over your face anyway. For tip number 3, this has to do with blush. And I'm using this Makeup by Mario blush today. The Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in the shade Pinch Me Pink. And I'm just going in with my usual blush brush. So I'm going to take that on my brush and just start working that all over my cheeks. And then I guess this kind of has 2 parts. So what I like to do first is take this and blend it on the very, very outer corner of my eye. Again, this just helps everything look blended and lifted. And it just adds a little bit of color to your eyes too, but nothing too crazy. I just really like buff that out. I don't add anything. I don't dip in and go directly right there. I just use what's on the brush and I just kind of buff it out. And it just really helps blend everything together. But what I also like to do is take whatever is left over on my brush and I work that into the under eye area. So what this does is, one, it blends your blush with your concealer, so there's not like that harsh line of like white under eye and then pink cheeks. But it also works as kind of like a color corrector in a way, especially like my eyes. I have very dark under eyes. It's like they're very purplish blue, and pinks and reds cancel out those colors. So by using pink blush on your under eye, it just kind of lightly color corrects it. It doesn't do anything crazy. If I really wanted it to be super color corrected, I'd want to go in with a different product before my concealer. But this just kind of helps add to it and like dulls out that really like purpley blue color. What it also does is it kind of gives the same effect as like a pink tinted powder under your under eye and just gives you like that little pink glow in that area. So I just usually take what's left over on my brush and just kind of like lightly tap that in my under eyes to blend it out and just brighten it up. For tip number 4, has to do with highlighter. And this is kind of like 2 tips in one, I guess, because it's 2 different things that I do with highlighter that I feel like help my makeup. So today I'm going in with a liquid highlighter. I'm using this one by Anastasia. This is very, very pigmented, so just need the smallest amount. I probably just put too much on the back of my hand, but I put it on the back of my hand and I just kind of rub it around like that to diffuse the product. And then I'm going to take my highlighter brush and I just dip into that really lightly. But I really like to focus the highlighter on this part of my face, like the tops of my cheeks and around like my eyes, because it just makes my cheeks look very like lifted and my face look lifted. So I just lightly put that all over my cheeks in this area above the brow bone, and I keep it kind of condensed into this area. I don't go down too far, and it kind of makes your cheeks look like, I don't know, really lifted, really high. It looks like you have really high cheekbones, and I think it makes you look really snatched. But that's the first part. So really it is highlighter placement. So you want to keep it like on the very high points of your face, just so that those areas really stick out and look snatched. And I do like to put it on my nose as well. The second part to this is putting highlighter on your eyes. So if you don't want to do a full-blown eye look and but you want your eyes to be elevated, maybe you're traveling and you don't have a lot of products with you, or you're in a hurry or whatever, you can take your highlighter and just put a little bit of that on your eyelid. So I already used the bronzer previously. That kind of worked as my base. So my eyes already look kind of bronzed, almost like I put eyeshadow on, but I didn't. And then I just take my highlighter and put that on my lids as well. It basically looks like you did a whole eye makeup look when you didn't. But one other thing I like to do is take a little tiny brush like this, dip into that same product, and then I work that on the inner corner of my eye just to brighten up that area a lot, and then make that pop as well. So these are all just little things that you can do that don't require a lot of effort, but really like elevate your makeup. Final tip, tip number 5, and probably my favorite because I feel like this hack is it just works really great for me, this also has to do with the eyes, and it is a way to achieve eyeliner, but a lot more simpler than having to use like black liquid liner. So I love a good wing, but I'm not great at doing it with a liquid liner. Plus, I just feel like liquid black liner is not forgiving at all. Like if you mess up, you have to take it off. It takes off your makeup. It just sometimes can be a mess if it's not like on point. So what I have been loving to do, and I do this all the time, is I use brown eyeshadow. If you want a black wing, you could also use black eyeshadow, but I just like the softer look of the brown, and I love like brown neutral colors, brown eye looks, that kind of thing. So I am always more gravitated towards using brown eyeliner, but you could use like a fun color eyeshadow, you could use black, you could use whatever color you want, but I personally like brown. So the one that I like the most is from e.l.f., which is really random, but it's in this e.l.f. Bite Size Shadow in the shade Cream and Sugar. That's what it looks like, and it's this brown right here. It's like the perfect dark brown color. So what I do is I take a really flat angled brush like this, and then I dip into the eyeliner. And sometimes I start at the beginning of my eye and work all the way out. Sometimes I just do like a half liner, and today I'm going to do like half. So I take the eyeliner or the eyeshadow, and I just start working that on the outer part of my eye, and then I pull it out into a wing. And then you can make it however long you want. I don't typically make my wings super long, but I just lightly pull it out. And then you can add more to this area to thicken it up, but that's literally all I do. And if I mess up or I don't like how it looks, I can just wipe it away. Or I can just keep working it and use my finger or whatever to make it more sharp. That one actually went on pretty good, so let's see if I can do it as good on the side. Okay, this one's a bit too long, so if I just take my finger, I literally can just wipe it away and then use my fingernail to make it sharp. And that's literally all you have to do. It works so amazing. Like, I can't believe I haven't been doing this my whole life. I used to do black eyeliner every single day, and I would spend so much time in the bathroom, but now using brown eyeshadow, it's amazing. It's just the light little pop that your eyes need, and it's super simple and easy to use. And that completes the look using my 5 current favorite makeup hacks that I feel like just take my makeup to the next level and just make it look that much better. So let me know down below if you have any makeup hacks that you love, because I'm always looking for ways to make my makeup better. So I would love to try any tips or tricks that you guys have and see how those work out for my skin. But I have just found that these 5 random things that I do really help work with my skin and help make my makeup look better. So I hope that they work for you as well if you try them. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!